What is up, guys? We are back with another video, and today we're checking out another big ass CPU cooler. This is the Cooler Master MasterAir MA624 Stealth, and it could be the Noctua killer. So let's go ahead and take a look. As we take a first look at the CPU cooler, as I said, it is a big ass CPU cooler. I'll go ahead and put the official dimensions sort of like right here so you guys can see. The one dimension that you want to be aware of is the height, which is 160 millimeters. Being 160 millimeters means that it is going to fit in pretty much any mid-tower. Most modern mid-towers support up to 165 millimeters, like the case we have right here. So you shouldn't have any issues with that type of clearance. This is called the Stealth, the MA624 Stealth. Stealth meaning that it is all black, so everything on this cooler is black, all black design with black fans. At the front of the cooler, you'll find one of Cooler Master's 140 millimeter sickle flow fans. These fans will operate between 650 and 1400 RPM with a max airflow of 67 CFM, max air pressure of 2.25, and a max noise level of 27 dBA. Now there's actually two of these in the cooler, one of course on the front and one in the middle of the two heatsink towers. Looking at the cooler from the side, we of course can see those two heatsink towers, and this is a dual tower, dual fan design, which of course is very standard when it comes to these very large CPU coolers. Now, the front fan is held into place by a simple sort of plastic mount. I actually do prefer it much more than the fan clips. It's easier to remove. It looks better and all of that. The center fan is not removable, so you can't take it out, which is fine. I actually prefer that because I don't want to remove a center fan to mount the CPU cooler, which you'll go ahead and see in a little bit. Moving around to the back, we can kind of see how that heatsink is designed, and we can see that, you know, at the bottom of each heatsink is a little cutout that allows for memory clearance as well as clearance over, you know, certain things around your CPU socket like VRM cooling. At the top of the cooler, we have a brushed aluminum top cap that has the Cooler Master logo on it. I really like this as well. This means that, you know, when you have this installed in your case, as we do here, if it does have a window, it is going to look pretty nice. Coming up from the base of the cooler, we have 6 copper heat pipes, and these heat pipes start at the base of the cooler and then they go up into each individual heatsink in a U fashion. That's pretty standard when it comes to dual tower coolers. Now, the base of the cooler is pretty thick, of course, made of all copper, and it does have a very nice finish, although like most modern coolers these days, we can see machining marks. For our installation, we're going to be installing this cooler on an Intel Z490 system. So our installation should be pretty much the same across LGA 1200, 1155, 1151, and 1150 sockets. The first thing you're going to want to do is find the included backplate. Now, this is a universal backplate, so you're going to use it on both Intel and AMD installations. What you want to do is find the bolts that go through the backplate and then lock them into place with these little plastic pieces that go on each corner, and then everything should look like what you see in the video. Next, very carefully line up the backplate with the holes in the back of your motherboard, threading the bolts through, and then flip your motherboard over and then lock that backplate into place with the locking bolts. Now go ahead and install the Intel mounting bars. These are the straighter bars out of the two that are included with the cooler. Now, these lock into place with simple thumb screws that lock onto the mounting bolts that we just installed. Apply the included thermal paste and then place the cooler on top of your CPU socket, lining up the screws in the cooler with the holes in the Intel mounting bars. Once you have everything lined up correctly, go ahead and tighten the screws and secure the cooler. Now you might want to remove the front fan to make things easier. I went ahead and did that just so I didn't have any issues. So if you did remove the front fan, just go ahead and easily reinstall it. The last thing that you're going to want to do is take the included Y cable and then go ahead and connect your 2 fans to it and then connect it to your motherboard's CPU fan header. For testing, we run 3 separate tests. So our first test is the idle test, which is taken on the Windows 10 desktop after an hour of having the system turned on. Our load 1 test is taken using Ada64's system stability test with just the CPU selected. And then our final test, which is load 2, that is taken using the same Ada64 system stability test, but we have both the CPU and FPU selected. For our testing, here is a list of our system specifications. As we come to the end here, I do have to say, based on our testing, this cooler is a Noctua killer. You know, in performance, of course, that's the most important metric when it comes to CPU coolers. In performance, it beat the Noctua NHD15 Chromex Black in both of our load tests. During idle, this cooler was slightly warmer, or temperatures were slightly warmer, but not by a whole lot. But of course, low temperature is the most important, and it beat the Noctua cooler, which is really good to see. Another thing that I like about this cooler is how easy it is to install. There's no center fan to remove, nothing like that, no weird and wacky, you know, installation for such a large cooler. In the past, Cooler Master, and I've been really tough on Cooler Master with their mounting systems. This mounting system is excellent. You can install this inside of the case, no problem. The plastic mounting system that's used for the front fan is extremely easy. You basically just pull it off and put it on. No problems there either. Of course, you have your 2 big screws here. You don't need the long screwdriver, even though they include a long screwdriver. You don't need to go down into the cooler. This is one of the easiest installations for this large of a cooler that I've seen. So definitely hats off to Cooler Master for that. Also, this cooler is extremely quiet. Even at, you know, our highest load test, this cooler didn't sound like a jet engine or your Intel or AMD stock cooler. It's very quiet in its operation, which of course is really good as well. The one thing that was a little bit weird about this cooler, I do appreciate it, but at the same time it adds an extra cost, is that they do include that 120 millimeter fan in the front. So if you have larger memory modules, you mount the 120 millimeter fan at the front instead of the 140. You take it off the mount, you take the 140 off of this mounting bracket and install the 120 and then put it in there. That's nice and everything, but I think that if you're not going to use it, it's an extra cost added onto you, and you just have this extra 120 millimeter fan sitting in the box. There's no way to mount that fan to the other side of the cooler. They don't include extra clips. A lot of times you get like extra fan clips with a lot of larger coolers to add a third fan, but you don't get that here. So it is an extra cost. Talking about cost, the cooler is $99.99, which I think is a good deal for the performance that you're going to get. But of course, subtracting that fan out of the equation would have saved you a little bit of money there. But overall, like I said, it's a Noctua killer. It's probably, I mean, it is the best performing CPU cooler that we've tested. Of course, in these high-end, really big coolers, it knocks it out of the park for sure. So if you have any questions about this cooler, definitely go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. And I will have links below to our full written review, as well as where you can go ahead and pick this cooler up. Now, if you made it this far in the video, I did want to let you guys know for the month of December, the last month of the year, we are going to have we currently actually have 2 awesome contests going on right now. Lots of awesome prizes for you guys to win. So there is a link in the description that says current contest. You can go ahead and click that and get all the information, get your entry in, and everything like that. And we actually do run contests pretty much every month on the website, if you guys don't know. So just save that link. That's where all of our contests are at. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you guys in the next video.